Chat, welcome to Buildsauce. This is where I build a Lego set. This was given to me as a gift at Long Island RetroCon. And I held off on buying it. I was like, nope, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. And then the person was like, I work at Lego. I was like, oh, okay. Well, then in that case, I'll take the Lego Game Boy. Did I see the Donkey Kong set? I saw the Donkey Kong set, and it really annoys me because I like it, but also it's $200. This one is a little cheaper, but it has some cool features. 421 pieces. Kind of a missed opportunity, I would say. Alright, I'm going to open this thing up and build it here on the stream. And someone actually modded this to play Game Boy games. Oh, they're doing paper now instead of plastic? Stickers, huh? Well, there goes that. I will rate and review the set when I'm done. But thank you, chat member, who got me this at Long Island RetroCon. It was a bit of a shock, honestly. But I'm glad I didn't buy it, because that means now I can do it. So, all right. Bag number 1. Here's the book. Thank you for selecting Lego Game Boy. Insert to continue. The authentic Lego Game Boy has been constructed using the finest materials to appeal to you. Wow. Full 1989 experience, too. They usually do this with sets like this, and like the Zelda set, they give you a little bit of history. Upon its launch in Japan in 1989, the original Game Boy was considered a revolution in video gaming. Powerful portable console allowed video game fans to enjoy their favorite games on the go with battery life that lasted up to a whole day. It was pretty good battery life, to be fair. The screen was pretty rough, though. But, you know, at the time, it was absolutely incredible. Uncover an icon. And here's some games. The 2 games. I guess I can share some Game Boy memories while we're talking. But sure, the iconic casing might be the star of the show, but we showed just as much love to the interior of both the Lego Game Boy and Game Pack, obsessing over detail and color that's authentic, for that authentic feel. There's even like, well, sound. We'll get to that. Super Mario Land. Mario Land's alright. It's very, very short. It launched alongside the Game Boy and Mario Explores Sarasa Land. I could not pronounce that as a kid. And you know, attempts to rescue Princess Daisy. Critics and fans alike agreed it was a giant leap forward for a handheld title, with 12 expertly plotted levels. And all that. Yes. This, however, is another level altogether. Released in 1993, 4 years after the Game Boy's launch, Link's Awakening was the small-screen debut for the already popular Zelda franchise. Adored by fans for its emotionally driven, story-based gameplay with wonderfully creative puzzles and challenges, this is the first Zelda title to be set outside of the Kingdom of Hyrule, and the first to not feature Princess Zelda. So what the hell is the name all about then? Who the fuck is Zelda? Okay. So my Game Boy was heavily used. I was a Game Boy fan. And I would play it in the back of the car and wait for the headlights of the other cars to illuminate. I'm not kidding. It was a nightmare. I was just very impatient. But that's the thing, is like nowadays, cell phones you know, we talk about iPad babies and all that. I was a Game Boy baby. I think my attention span was also pretty fucked because I just had a Game Boy with me all the time. But yeah, the screen was a little bit rough, and I had to play it under a lamp, or you know, lights or whatever, like, or preferably the sun. But it was cool because, you know, not having portable video games and then a Game Boy, it was like a fucking revelation. But yeah, Mario Land was great. It was a little tough for me at the age of like 5, but I eventually beat it, and then beat it again, and then beat it again, and then again. It's a good game. I mean, nowadays there's like ROM hacks for it to, you know, give it color and make it look a little bit better. But, you know, it's short, and it's not really that, it's replayable because it's fun, but when you think about like the physics of Mario, it's a little wonky. I didn't care though. When I was a kid, I didn't give a shit. I just enjoyed it. But again, for the very first handheld game, like on the Game Boy, yeah, it was pretty amazing. Let's see, what are we doing here? Are we doing the screen? All right. Also, I had Tetris, which was another one that I spent countless hours on and never got better at. No, I got a little bit better here and there, but mostly it wasn't until I played Tetris 99 and like Puyo Puyo Tetris that I actually got a little bit better at Tetris. I was just kind of a dumb kid. I didn't really learn. Oh my god, these are really good. Chad, these are lenticulars, but they're like pretty. That's pretty awesome. Let's see if we can block some of the light. Ooh. They're the lenticular like lines are spaced very close together, so it is like the resolution of Game Boy. That's fucking crazy. And the screen is just as horrible as the actual Game Boy was. If you were lucky, it would say Nintendo, but most of the time the cartridge would be a little corrupted or like dirty, and it would be like. But yeah, these are actually really cool. These lenticulars, I have to say, I'm impressed. So, I guess this is just the holder for them. Yeah, this is a little holder. Okay. And we're gonna make the first game, I think. Let's see. I still have an unbuilt Lego set too. I have the fucking bat signal that they gave me for the Lego Batman thing. And I found out that's like an $80 set. Just never built it. Just sitting there. And I have the Sauron helmet, which I also... and that's when I realized, do not buy the Donkey Kong set. I just like... It's... What am I doing? This is an easier one. This is only 421 pieces. I can do this one. And it's video game related, so it works well on the stream. But some of those bigger sets, my back would kill me by the time I was done with them. But also, these things have gone up in price. And Lego, like the fucking X-Files one... Okay, the Donkey Kong one is cool. The X-Files one is incredible. And the temptation to pick that up is insane, because they are marketing it to me. They like broke into my brain and they were like, "Hello, Vinny. We want to sell you some Lego. What are you thinking? What would you like?" And then they made that into a fucking X-Files set. Man. But this is good. This will be good. So yes, Tetris. I had Mario Land. I had Metroid 2, which we talked about yesterday during the Sunday stream, because Metroid 2 was on the stream a little bit, and I will tell you, Metroid 2 was very scary for a 5-year-old kid or 6-year-old kid, whatever it was at the time. The feeling of isolation and like just the creepy noises and the weird creatures. There's even a fucking Metroid jump scare in that game. It was like a horror game almost at times. So also, look at, there's the cartridge. This is Super Mario Land. And it doesn't have a battery save, right? It's because Mario Land didn't have a save. It did not. Zelda does, though, and the battery is in that build. I saw it. So here's my least favorite part of Lego, is when you have to do stickers. In this case, it kind of makes sense because the Game Boy cartridges did, in fact, have the stickers. But usually not a fan of stickers. Just kind of adds anxiety to the building, because it's like very easy to fuck up. But I think I did a pretty good job with that one. So let's see. And we do this. We do this. The Donkey Kong set is ridiculous too. That set is fucking crazy because you actually jump the jump man over barrels that you release. So there is the display, including the lenticulars right here. So you just sort of, you do that, and it just rests there on that. Okay. I'm gonna put the Nintendo lenticular in there as well, and then I'll put the extra pieces on the Oglop. What else? I had, yeah, Metroid 2 was just very replayable, but very difficult. Okay. Let's see. What are next? Number 2. I had Balloon Kid. That was my other Game Boy game. And that was Balloon Fight, but it was a single-player game. Well, not... Yeah, it was a single-player, like, adventure game. And, miserable experience that was. And the reason for that is, it was just so fucking difficult. I couldn't get past, like, level 3. Whereas the Mario and the Zelda, and even Metroid 2, which I thought was a tough game, but I was able to finish it pretty easily eventually. It took me like a little while, but eventually I figured out the flow of the gameplay and navigating, and, you know, even as like a 6-year-old, or 7 maybe, I know, funny, I was able to complete it. It's just, Balloon Kid was fucking shit from a fucking ass. I'm sure someone out there's like, hey, I love that game, Vinny. But man, I could not get past a certain like level. It was like a city level, whatever level that was. That shit sucked. Okay, we are making the Game Boy. This is the beginnings of the Game Boy right here, chat. You will not be able to see all of the instructions. I hope that's okay. But I will build, and I will build so you can see the steps along the way as I do so. So yes, Balloon Kid was a game I had. I had Quirk, which I would recommend looking that up if you haven't heard me talk about it a million times already. It's a puzzle game, and in it you are a tomato. You are a tomato man named Quirk, and you're quirked up, and you basically have to go through like doorways, and it's a very small game. What I mean by that is the graphics are small. And I was able to like do a little bit of that game as a kid, because I guess maybe my aunt bought that for me for Christmas one year, and it looked cute because there was the Tomato Man. But that was another nightmare difficulty game of just like it was kind of Zelda puzzly in some ways, but very, very difficult. Like going through one-way passages, like blocks and doorways that close behind you. So, never completed that. This is weird. So far, this is weird. But, alright, we'll just keep doing it as instructed. Okay, so Quirk was not a fun game for me. Even though, again, as a kid, especially because, you know, I like to play outside, so I'd bring the Game Boy, and I would enjoy both being outside, touching grass, and gaming. So I would bring the Game Boy out a lot. And Quirk would annoy me, and I would go back to Mario. I also had another terrible game. And it was unfortunately my only Castlevania game I ever had for years before I rented Castlevania 4 and realized, oh, Castlevania is actually really good. Castlevania Adventure, the first one on the Game Boy, miserable experience. That game was really, really tough, and the move speed was really slow compared to even regular Castlevania. The gameplay was just not fun. Yeah, the game feel was terrible. The WiiWare reimagining, yes, that was great. So, I mean, they did eventually update that, and they just reimagined it, and it's better, but they... Also, that game is in limbo right now. That's stuck on a defunct platform. So you have to play it on Dolphin. But as a kid, I hated that Castlevania game. It was unfortunate because it actually... Castlevania is now one of my favorite franchises, but having the worst game almost in the series as your only Castlevania game, bad. Really bad. So now we put the grills on over here. What other games did I have for Game Boy that I played a lot? Well, obviously Mario Land 2 eventually came out, and that was one of the best games on the system, I think. And I played it on stream, like a color version. And yeah, it's still good. It's still good. It's another pretty short game, but the map makes it feel a little bit bigger. And the Wario fight was pretty tough, that like whole last castle. Fucking Mario has a castle, who knew? So that one was good. I played a lot of that, and I liked the theming too, of like the insect world where you're small and everything. That was cool. The toy world. Honestly, Nintendo should kind of go back to Mario Land 2 and mine it for inspiration for future Mario games, because there was some genuinely creative stuff in there. Like, the moon levels were fun, and a little different. You had Mario in like a spacesuit. Call it Mario Titans. Yeah, really. Wario Land was then also incredible. I actually think Wario Land, which they called Mario Land 3, I think Wario Land was the best platformer on the Game Boy. Original Game Boy, not Color. And also, like, lots of different treasure to find, so it's, like, really, really replayable. I would just boot it back up just to try to find stuff that I missed. DK94. Okay, so here's my story with DK94. I never owned it, but I had a cousin who had it and brought it over, and I played it, and it was really, really good, and it surprised me how good it was. I have never finished that game, and I've never owned it. So one day I would like to stream that in some form. It's supposed to be like wobbly like that. I don't think there's any reinforcement. I think it's supposed to be wobbly like that, chat. It's just wobbly. It's on Switch Online NSO. Okay, cool. There also may be a color version of that. I know Game Boy, a Super Game Boy, had something. That was another thing too. Super Game Boy was really cool. I didn't own it, but again, a cousin had it. Not my club cousin ever, and it was very, very cool to play some of those games. A lot of those games were really weirdly personal experiences. With NES and then Super Nintendo, you could kind of share it. Even if it's just like your, friends that would watch, even if it wasn't multiplayer. But some of these Game Boy games felt like hidden secrets. And when I had, that's silly, I know, but when I had the Super Game Boy for a little while, I was able to finally show my cousin that was not the club cousin that I had a good relationship with, the games that I had been playing for all these years. So I think Super Game Boy was a very underrated piece of technology. Did I ever have the Game Boy Advance SP? I did. But it was also the Game Boy... What was Game Boy Pocket? I still have it, and it's still in really good shape. That was a very cool piece of technology at the time, because it also made the screen a lot more legible, whereas the original Game Boy screen, the ghosting on that, by the way, after a while you don't notice it, but it was pretty rough. And there are people out there who are now trying to emulate. I saw a video of people trying to emulate that like ghosts effect from the screen, the original Game Boy screen, and it's really, really blurry and really hard to look at, but people fucking love it. They want that nostalgia. People love getting ghosted. I don't know. So then, I had, I had that. I also had, what other Game Boy original games did I have? I didn't have a ton. Game Boy Color, I had a few more. I had the Metal Gear game, Ghost Babel. That was fun. No, I didn't have Donkey Kong Land, which, by the way, just got a better version. I saw the F3, which was the fan game thing, and I saw that there's a version of the Donkey Kong Land game that was turned into like Donkey Kong Country sprites. So that looks kind of cool, actually. I played Donkey Kong Land, but I never finished it. It's amazing that they even got that to look legible enough to play. Like, because it doesn't make sense that would even work, but it kind of did. I had a game called Solar Striker as well, which I've talked about on stream, I think. It was just a shoot-'em-up game. Had some cool music. Never finished it. I was no expert at video games, especially when I was 6. But Solar Striker and Quirk and all those other games are just really fucking miserably hard. Alleyway is another game I had, which is basically a Breakout clone with Mario in it. He is the little guy who jumps in the ship. So, yeah, I didn't, you know, Game Boy was a good console. It was especially amazing for its time. But a lot of those games were just not that great for me. I didn't enjoy them very much, I'll be honest. Like the ones I mentioned, like Balloon Kid and all that. It wasn't until Zelda Link's Awakening that that game was just always being replayed. I played it a lot. I thought that was the best game on the Game Boy. I still do. There's also, obviously then the Game Boy Color and like Wario Land 2, which was a good game. I like that one. But that also had a... Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. That had a black and white mode. So you could play it on original Game Boy hardware. I think. This build seems fiddly. Yeah. There was a black cartridge, yeah. Are you thinking about Wario Land 3? No, I'm thinking about Wario Land 2. They dropped the Super Mario Land moniker, and it was just called Wario Land 2. Unless I'm misremembering. But I feel like there was a color mode for GBC, and then there was also a mode that was, just... You know, you could just play it on your regular Game Boy. Wario Land 2 had both GB and GBC version, 2 carts. Oh, okay. There's also the issue of rentals. So, my other Game Boy thing was with the Super Nintendo and the NES, I was able to rent all kinds of shit that I normally would never have played, ever. But with the Game Boy, that wasn't the case. So there were a ton of games I just missed out on. I think one of the reasons I have somewhat of a decent knowledge of what games were out was because of Blockbuster Video. But yeah, Game Boy, that wasn't... they didn't have that. Now you can only rent games. Time is a flat circle. There we go. My, oh, by the way, on a side note, unrelated to Game Boy, my tour video is almost done. I'm just making a decision on whether or not I want to include Brooklyn. But that's this Saturday. So I don't really have any, it doesn't feel like a road trip, you know what I mean? Like the video is mainly about the road trip. And Brooklyn is just, it's like, you know, home. So I don't know. Can we get an Empire State Building tour video update? No, I can't do that, but I just will say it's a great spot to be a tourist for a little while. I think the Empire State Building tour is very good. But I'm just too lazy to put that together. The Asus ROG video? Oh yeah, that's also lost to the sands of time. It's the end of the hero's journey. Brooklyn should be included. What if I learned nothing? Doesn't the hero's journey usually include some kind of, like, growth? pretty good. I'm excited for the Brooklyn show. I think it's gonna be good. If anyone was at the shows, I think we really fell into a groove of some serious songs, but generally the shows are just for fun. Like, we're just having fun. The band, the audience, that's exactly the vibe I want for what we do. And going through the footage, there was one. I won't tell you what song it was, but I got lost in the sauce, and I just didn't even know where I was. I thought we were ending the song. It's an unreleased one, so maybe no one really picked up on it, but maybe a couple people did. But it happened early enough that for all the future shows, it didn't happen again. But it was that's the hero's journey. I learned a lesson, which is don't zone out while you're playing music, and just try to be present. So I guess I learned something. There was also, we played the New Flesh, and Joe at the end of the song was like, that key is in C, and I just remembered that now, and the song was already over. And that, unfortunately, I forget what day that was. That might have been Chicago, and it was a little rough. But, the cool thing is we actually ended up... One of the things I like about doing a tour that I had never done before that I learned... So this is a thing I learned. There's always the, you'll get them next time. So, for example, I slept pretty well in thinking, I did the best I could. But then I also thought, okay, we have a couple more shows coming up. I'll just do it better next time. So, sorry, Indianapolis. You're just going to have to deal with that shitty performance. But, yeah, that was a kind of a fun thing. And I think, using the opportunity to play the songs 5 times was actually really good for me as a musician, too. So I enjoyed the challenge of that. And I will tell you, the challenge of having a roster of 33 or 34 songs and doing 23 a night and rotating stuff in and out was a little crazy. But I'm glad we did it. There's some stuff that people really wanted to hear. We got requests, and it's like, shit, we can't do that one because it's too... we don't know it. I just don't know it. I don't remember it. But I think being able to rotate between that many songs and mostly get them right by the end was pretty cool. So now we just need to open for Queens of the Stone Age. And we'll see how that goes. That would be fucking awesome. That would be so sick. How long were the concerts on average? We did hour and a half to hour 40-minute sets. Now that includes 45-minute VIP with 3 or 4 extra songs, and that includes a 7-song sound check every day. You know what? My voice held up. I was surprised. But I employed better technique, too. I tried not to, lose my goddamn mind and just, tried to be careful about it. And I think it worked. So I guess I learned more than I'm letting on. I learned a couple things, chat. I heard you shit yourself and fell over at the very end. That's half true. I shit yourself. Sorry about that. Someone said something about a stage gimmick. What's that? Can you repeat that? That message seemed kind of unhinged. What was that? Like the cake show, maybe you whip up a Pokemon card pack at the audience's face. Okay, stage gimmick. No, I mean, we had the alien. We didn't bring it with us because we didn't have room for him. And also, it's just annoying to lug around a corpse of an alien, you know? But, no, I think the gimmick is that people shout Speen or Hi Germa. So that's the gimmick. Hey, I'll be Germa. You're paying enough for the concert. Whatever you want, whatever you need, bro. There we go. What about Hi Joel? Yeah, if you spent money on the VIP, I'll be your Joel. I'll be your Huckleberry. I know you said you kept your voice in check, but did you say fuck it at any point and go hard? Yeah, it was the last vomit in the ball pit, Nashville. I went a little bit. It's rough. It's rough, and I lost. Normally, I can do that one without. You know, I know how to do it now better because I have my in-ear system, and I can just sing the notes basically and give it a little bit of grit. But that one, I decided I was gonna just fucking lose my voice, and I did. And then I fell over and shit my. I didn't shit myself, but it's kind of funny. But no, that one I just said fuck it and fell to the ground because I couldn't sing it anymore. But I also had tea. I had these like these things, these like pastilles, whatever they're called. They're just good for your voice if you speak a lot or if you sing. That's what they're designed for. So I had those. That was really helpful. And yeah, and also from me, don't discount that I speak for 5 hours a night, 5 days a week. Now, I'm not speaking constantly. Sometimes I let the game do the thing. But there are times where, you know, I try to project a little bit while I'm talking on stream. Not like crazy, you know, I'm not screaming and I'm not like really loud, but there's times where it's like, you know, you're speaking that long and I had practice throughout the day or I, you know, have other stuff I'm doing and it's like, it just gets you better at using your voice to the point where it's not as, I'm not as fatigued afterwards. So it's kind of a combination of things. This is a really wacky build, by the way, because even though it's really accurate so far to Game Boy, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing half the time. I'm just putting pieces together. It's one of the reasons I like those castle sets, is because, like, oh, I'm building a portcullis now. I'm building the dungeon. Oh, this is the bathroom. This is where they go. This is where they poop. Speaking of, I watched The House of the Dragon. I finished the season. And I have a few thoughts without spoiling anything. And I'm not planning on ever getting into spoilers necessarily because I don't care enough. I'll say Link did a pretty good job. So, for those that don't know, the actor who is playing Link is actually in House of the Dragon. And he's alright. You know, he looks like he can play Link. So, there's that. What else? Really hope I didn't need this piece. I know they give you extras, but find this piece suspicious. Hang on. It was better than season 2. I haven't read, what is it, Fire and Blood? What is the name of it? The fucking House of the Dragon source material? I like swords. I like medieval shit. Oh, okay, there it is. It's good. So, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Season 2 was pretty bad, so this was a huge improvement. My biggest complaint with the show, and I know there's people that, like, you know, are upset about the accuracy of it, but I don't really know what I'm missing, so I couldn't tell you. But so many of the characters are deeply unlikable. It's like, I can't really root for a single motherfucker because they suck. So there's a couple characters that are kind of at least entertaining to watch, but it is ultimately a show about assholes. So at least with Dunk and Egg, I really could root for Dunk. But yeah, no, this show is it's okay. It's an okay show, and I guess I enjoyed it. Didn't think too deep about it, just kind of watched it, and the dragons were there, and that's cool. I had low expectations, and they were not defiled. But again, the Dunk and Egg show was so goddamn good that I was like, oh, I think I like The World of Ice and Fire again, that George Martin's writing. But turns out, I don't. I just like Dunk and Egg. But yeah, the show is okay. It's definitely okay. I gotta say, Matt Smith, fucking awesome. The dude is consistently good. Even if his character is ultimately unlikable, he's very, very watchable. Fucking Matt Smith is always good. Emma Darcy's good. Even, you know, the character Rhaenyra is, oh god. Oh my god. I was like, just like, fucking hell, can you stop? But that's the point. Many, many good actors in a show that is sometimes poop from a butt is the way I would describe House of the Dragon. But the dragons are great. Also, it's not just that, it's the writing is designed to be frustrating, and it's supposed to be the fall of, you know, these two families and the dragons and all that. So I get it. Some of it is intentionally frustrating. So you got to try to separate that from the bad writing, of which there is plenty. But again, not bad. When I compare it to like Game of Thrones season 6 or 7 or 8, it's definitely better. Even though George Martin at one point went online, he was like, "This show's not mine anymore. They fucking ruined it. These fucking people took my baby from me and they fucking ruined it." He didn't quite say that. He then said, "Meowth, that's right." He ruined it by not finish it? No, he finished this one. He didn't finish the other one. The other one is the main culprit. And then those guys were like, "We're gonna direct Star Wars." Remember that Star Wars they directed? Oh, wait a minute. I still haven't seen Mandalorian and Baby. Mandalorian and Cash Cow. But I think it's on streaming now, so at some point I'm gonna have to check it out, because I want to see my buddy Rhoda the Hutt. I want to see how he's his own man, and not at all like his father. Oh. No need to watch. You underestimate my ability to watch garbage. I watched The Room more than most of my favorite movies. To me, that sounds like the perfect movie to watch when I just need to decompress and watch like some nonsense, just pure nonsense. I didn't want to like go to a movie theater and watch it, but I'm down to watch some trash. Maybe I'll even be surprised. Apparently, you know, I have friends that are pretty critical about that stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, it's not bad." I was like, "Oh, not bad, huh? All right, not bad's good." Franchise is totally tanked. Like, that shit is deader than dead. But yeah, not bad is all right. Andor is great. Yeah, I know. I people probably get annoyed at how much I talk about Andor, or rather, how much I love that show. Maybe I'll just rewatch that instead. No, that's like one of those shows that I want to rewatch at some point, but I want to give it some time so I forget some of the details. Which, if you know me, will be tomorrow. But that show was just, for me, ticked all the right boxes. The only thing it wasn't was funny, which I've always enjoyed the humor of Star Wars, especially A New Hope and Empire. But yeah, Andor is more of a serious, like, shit's really going down kind of show. Chad, I don't know what I'm building. And on some level, the Game Boy could have been hollow. I'm not saying that would have been good for the, you know, the build or the value. But the fact that there's so many little, like, I'm building like a circuit board, I think. I'm building the guts of the Game Boy. Like, accurate Game Boy guts. It's kind of fucking crazy. Well, what the hell do I do with this? Do I just place it down gently? It doesn't click in place anywhere. See? Because look. It goes like that. And then... I guess we'll find out. Maybe it's not supposed to be in there perfectly right now. What else? What else can we talk about? Well, I forgot to talk about the Game Boy SP, which was a Game Boy Advance. By the time the Game Boy Advance came out, that for me was like a completely different thing, because Game Boy Color just felt like a minor like adjustment to the Game Boy. I know the color was nice, but I mean, really, may I ask you, the chat, what did you feel about Game Boy Color? Like, what were the best games that were exclusively for that? I know there's like Mario Golf. There's the Mario Brothers remake. Oh, Wario Land 3. Yeah, no, that's a great one. Pokemon. Wait a minute. Pokemon Red and Blue were also for regular Game Boy, right? That was not a Game Boy Color thing. It was, yeah. Pokemon Crystal. I was not a big Pokemon guy. I watched the show. I had Pokemon Red. And I'll be honest, outside of that, I never finished Pokemon Red. I liked them in Smash. I played Snap. And then I just didn't buy more Pokemon games for years. Like, literal years. I think Pokemon X was my first game, in the series after Red. I don't know why, man. I don't know. I just didn't fuck with Pokemon for a long time. But it did, how much total on Pokemon have you spent in your life? What, time? Not that much, to be honest. Nowhere near as much as a lot of my friends. But I know that the Pokemon games definitely breathed new life into the Game Boy. So that was a pretty huge series for original Game Boy, at least. And like right at the end there, too. There's also a lot of, like, trashy, inferior versions of games on better consoles. No offense, Game Boy. You know, like, Perfect Dark got a Game Boy Color port. And it was, like, kind of okay-ish, but also, why? Turok got some Game Boy games, and they were, again, why? So, that was happening for a while. My Game Boy was kind of collecting dust. Until the Game Boy Color, which I had, like I said, a couple things like Metal Gear helped. But GBA was fucking awesome. I loved Game Boy Advance. I played a ton of Castlevania. We're listening to Castlevania music. But yeah, Castlevania, Circle of the Moon, the other one, and then Aria of Sorrow were great. Huh. This needed to be in here. But I did have an SP, Game Boy Advance SP, which the clamshell design of that thing was really cool. You know what? It was so cool it made me want to play more Game Boy. Like every now and then a piece of hardware was just really awesome and it made me like just want to pick it up and use it. And rechargeable. Yeah, and rechargeable. Was it a front-lit or backlit model? I believe mine was backlit. Alright, so chat. I'm in a bit of a conundrum right now. I've hit a slight conundrum. Not... Okay, here's one. So I was looking for select and start. Okay, these don't have that. Oh, I just didn't see it. But I got it. Okay, I gave up too soon, but we're good. Okay, that goes there. And that goes there. You can wire the Lego Game Boy to actually play games. Yeah, I saw that. It's crazy. Okay, so we got whatever is going on here. We got that built. There's a couple bags left, but bag 5 is pretty light, so I would say we're halfway through the build. I knew this was going to take a little while, but 420 pieces isn't that bad compared to some of the bigger sets. This one's just really, like, technical. It's probably not the right word, but just lots of little things. There was the set, the Mario Brothers set that I got years ago that, you could rotate it, like, with a crank, and it would play Mario Brothers. And I remember that one being a bit of a nightmare, because it was just all, like, little technical pieces that you had to put together to make it work. And usually, like, sets with, like, a ton of repetition. I mean, I haven't built... Believe it or not, even though I do enjoy this stuff, I haven't built that many sets. I think I built, like, 2 a year for the past couple years, and then maybe missed out on, like, a year or 2. But, there's some sets that are, like, that I've done that are just, like, mind-numbing. This is approaching that level a little bit. Not too bad, but it's just... The anticipation of finishing it is more fun than the actual building of it, is my current review of the LEGO project. Vinny, I have some Space and Alien 90s LEGO sets. They are still peak. I agree. That was my favorite shit. The space sets and the castles. Those were the ones that I really enjoyed. Now they only do like one castle a year, and it's usually $100 or more. So you don't really get castles anymore. Now it's all just brand, which I've learned a lot of LEGO fans, much like Magic the Gathering fans, are quite dissatisfied with. Begone, brand. But it's what makes money. I mean, you know, all the tie-ins. It happened with theme parks too. I learned about. I mentioned the Disney experience I had, which I swear I'm not a Disney adult. I swear I'm not a Disney adult. But I enjoyed the park. And I learned about the California Adventure, which was like their California themed park, and it was. They just shoved a bunch of, like, recognizable IP in it when it was, like, clear it wasn't working. And now it's just a mishmash of IP and Minions or whatever. Yeah, probably not Minions, but yeah, whatever it is. So when in doubt, acquire licenses. That is the lesson. I don't think I did this right, chat. Hang on. No, that's correct. Right? Let's see. Yeah, that looks correct. Oh, okay. It slides on like that. I see. All right, cool. Kind of looking like a fucking Game Boy to me. I wonder if Lego RAM also costs a lot of money these days. Okay. Game Boy Advance also had 2 really great Metroid games. It had Minish Cap. Like I said, I kind of do consider it a separate entity from original Game Boy. By that point, you know, the name was still Game Boy, but it was like... And it played the old games too, which was nice. But yeah, it was like a different world of gaming as opposed to those like early, you know, almost experimental things to try to get them to work and play well on a handheld. And by then they'd figured it out. Wild what they're doing here. I see what they're doing. Also, I'll be real, I'm a little disappointed with what they did with Mario. Where they had these weird naming schemes and they just said, hey, this is Mario Advance 3 and it's Yoshi's Island for some reason. The thing I liked the most about it was that they had new levels for Mario 3, but I'm pretty sure those are fucking e-reader levels. And they're good levels, too. They're just locked behind an accessory and cards. But otherwise, I did have Yoshi's Island. That was, I didn't own it on the SNES, so I did have that version. Like I said, they're good games. It's just, I guess I was always hoping for a brand new Mario game. Why was the Advanced series in the order of 2, 4, 5, 3? I don't know. Is that really what it was? Also, Advance Wars was great. And I think that Switch version we got was perfectly fine. But probably killed the series entirely. That series is fucking cursed. Sonic Advance. Yeah, Days of Ruin was really good. Delayed due to war. Don't you hate when war delays your video games? Probably some other reasons to be upset about war, but, I don't know. You know what, chat? I'm going to say something controversial. I don't like war. I think we should settle all our differences in Counter-Strike. Very bold of you to say, oh yeah, I'm known for my bold opinions, and I'm also known for my candor live on my streams. The more I learn about that guy, the more I think he's a jerk. Why do we live in MGS 4 now? I think we live more in MGS 2 than 4, to be honest, but yeah, 4... it's coming out again soon. And you know what's going to happen, right? There's going to be a lot of people that play it for the first time or replay it, and we're going to see a lot of, holy shit, Kojimbo. He was right. Kojimbo was right. And he kind of, to be fair, yeah, he kind of was. He had a lot of good predictions. Okay, so chat, I'm confused. Right? So we got the D-pad here, right? There's rubber here, and the D-pad is not stuck in there. So, I think we need to keep building. Yes, that's what we need to do. Keep building. Yes. What music is this? Oh, Spelunky. Oh, Worm. I was like, I know this penal music. Huh. Look at that. That's actually really clever. So there's a piece of rubber down there, and it actually, like, simulates the D-pad being pressed. Like, it actually feels kind of like a real D-pad. It's, you know what? It's even better than the Switch Pro Controller D-pad. Wow. Alright, I need to sit back for a minute, chat, because I am leaning forward for now almost 3 hours. And I'm not getting any younger. Make any horrible desserts lately? No, not really. You would have seen them. cool. All right. Feeling a lot better now. All right, cool. I'm good. I'm good. Let us continue the Game Boy. There's a fucking giant set for Lord of the Rings that came out somewhat recently. It was Minas Tirith, which is the, you know, the city in Return of the King. And it is a massive set. And they do, like, kind of a forced perspective trick with it. I wouldn't be able to build it here. Like, I would need the camera to be, like, 10 times higher. Alright, I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's just, like, they're cool as hell. It's fun to build these things. And I don't like usually building in one sitting. When I've done the castle sets, I like kind of building, you know, over a week or 2 weeks. But you gotta have a fucking dedicated Lego room, dog, if you're gonna do shit like this. You really kind of do. A hobby only adults can afford. Yeah, the kids have been priced out of Lego. I wonder if these button pieces are custom specifically for this. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it was like, it was Will Ferrell's Lego room in the Lego movie. Like, that's what you need. You need that much room. But, you know, it's a fun hobby. I mean, you know, of course, all the time you spend building Legos, you could be curing cancer. But no, just keep building your Legos. That's great. I'm sure the plastic will get recycled back, and the fish will eat them, and it'll be good for the environment. Especially a couple hundred years from now when we're all gone. I think it's a good hobby. Someone just wrote Vinny in all caps. Alright, fine. It's okay, chat. It's of this earth. Plastic is still of this earth. So eventually the fish will adapt. Okay, it's called evolution. Alright, and we're producing so much plastic that other life forms on the planet will eventually start eating it. And it's gonna be cool. Someone just said, yeah, me. Oh, that explains a lot. I got a lot of plastic eaters in chat. I see. Okay, I genuinely wonder, and by the way, me asking this question, I'm not going to get any real answers, so I'm not even going to bother, but I wonder how many chat members that are here right now have eaten a Lego at some point in their life. It has to be some kind of outrageous number, right? Like at least 4? Which is still outrageous when you consider that you shouldn't be eating Legos, but... Is that a hospital trip, chat? Eating a Lego? Is that like emergency room? Or can you pass that shit like a kidney stone? Depends. Most likely not. What if you eat this? I think this is an emergency room trip. This will come out... You know what? No, here, let me use this. This and this, you just mistake for corn. But, like, something like this might be a problem. Even though it would be okay, kind of like, you know, but worming its way through, like, the tubes, the inner... You know what I mean? Not good, not good. This one would probably be fine. This one would be okay, I think. This is not a green bean. Do not eat this. This is an emergency room trip. And, like, you don't want to be known as the Lego swallower, like in class. You absolutely do not want that. I screwed up a little bit, chat. Hang on. Here. That. I think it goes like this. I think. I swallowed 4 quarters in a row when I was really young. Does that count? Kids are surprisingly more tolerant these days. My high school class, one of the kids legit threw up one day and nobody said anything. Huh. I think there was more to that, but it scrolled up too quickly. But yeah, that's, I guess it depends on where you go to school, too, because Staten Island kids, I have a feeling, would be just as mean as ever. I don't know why, I just have a feeling. Might have something to do with Staten Island. Staten Island, how we love thee. Okay. There's some kind of, elastic thing happening here. Oh, resistance for the buttons. That's so stupidly clever. Holy shit. Wow. I mean, it doesn't feel as, you know, like responsive as a real button on a controller or anything like that, but it works to simulate. Fucking hell, man. Okay. All right. This is the moment of truth. Did I fuck something up? No. Surprisingly not. It fits. It shockingly feels like a Game Boy. That's... I don't get it. It's like witchcraft. I mean, I get it, because I just built it, but still, that's fucking crazy. This is the part of the build that's fun, is actually getting to, you know, see the fruits. The fruits! Okay, this is Super Paper Mario music. I was wondering. I hate that the word penal or penile is such a good descriptor for some music. Like, it shouldn't be, but it really is. That might just be a me problem, but... Oh, there we go. It goes like that. So now this goes like this. And voila. We have the bottom of the Game Boy. Just a couple more things to do now. And then the bottom will be completely done. Where are the start and select buttons? Very good question. These are probably them. So one of the things I've learned about Lego is their reuse of you know, pieces as much as they can, and the desire to oops, to make new pieces is not very high, because it's like they already have the mold, so they kind of tend to make the new pieces only when they absolutely have to, and as a result they reuse frogs a lot. Like, for example, there's a brown frog in the Anniversary Castle set that serves as poop. And they use frogs and hot dogs as, like, furniture, but, like, frogs are, like for trees and for poop. So, yeah, when you get, like, a set with original, like, new pieces that have been created, it's, like, crazy. The frogs are an intentional joke. It's a pretty good one, though, I have to say. I enjoy the frogs. Start and select. Huh. It's a little clunky. But they're pressable. There's nothing really keeping them in there other than friction. But it kind of works. They're just wheels, though, so you can, like, you know, wheel them. Everything else is so great, but then this is just like, okay. The sizing is slightly off. I would imagine they're doing the best they can with the pieces they have available, so I understand. It's still pretty cool. But yes, it feels a little bit weird. There's a skeleton T-Rex set that has a frog using a steering wheel in its skull. Okay, we're getting pretty close to being finished with this. Do you plan on getting the DK arcade set? I was tempted, but I don't think I'm going to get it. I also saw the original series Star Trek set, which is neat, but I'm also not going to get that. There's just too much. There's too much. I don't really care for the bridge set. Like, it's a little cool, but it's just, like, open and weird. And getting minifigures is fine and everything, but it's not enough to make me want to grab, again, all these $200 sets. Like, like, what am I going to do with these things? It's nice to build them, but then I don't have room. I don't have room for them. So they just get, like, stored away someplace, or, like, it's just, they're kind of, they're amazing to build, most of them, but then, I hate to say it, they kind of become an inconvenience. Because I have space constraints. Someone said skill issue. What I need to do is eliminate all other things and just have Legos. Eventually, Lego should do a thing like IKEA furniture, and you just build your own furniture out of Legos. I'm sure it would be comfortable. This piece right here. There we go. So now I need a long flat piece that's not that long. Okay, got it. Okay, now this goes here. Huh. What's this? What am I building here exactly? Once again, the mystery continues until it's fully completed. I mean, obviously I know what I'm building, but why? Oh, thank you, chat member. That's really cool of you. But, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and refund that back. Have I ever mentioned on stream why I don't take donations? I probably have, right? Half goes to bozos. Yeah, but it's been a while. No, it's that someone donated and then they needed money for surgery, so they wanted the money back. And I just was like, okay, I'm good. You can have the money back. I was like, stop donating to streamers. Just don't do that anymore. And I'll make it easy for you on my end. And I just never accepted donations again. There's a whole salvo of other reasons why it's a little bit dicey. Chargebacks and such, but you know, I get it. It's not everyone is able to make a living, and the donations help, but it is a semi-stressful thing. Especially when you think about people who are... Listen, I know I have merch, but there are people and like VTubers that have merch, and people will spend so much. So... You know, I try to... There's a part of me that worries that people are just going to spend the money they have. So, at least if you're getting a couple things from me, I feel like it's not, like, too much, and you can still... I mean, ultimately, it's your decision at the end of the day, but I would feel bad if someone needed it for surgery for, like, their parents or something. So real early on, that happened, and it really put me off to that sort of thing. I know Twitch bits are a similar thing, but there's also a limit on that. And also, unfortunately, Twitch does get a lot of that. They get a huge percentage of it. Hey, true story about Twitch. They pay more attention to you if you press the add button a lot. That's where they make the bulk of their earnings, of their money. Not from subs as much, and not from fucking... what was I going to say? Not from subs and not from bits. I mean, they do make some money, but they really go hard on the ads. They really want you to... My partner manager, or my you know, whoever it was, for years was very adamant. Like, hey, have you considered... Yeah, I have. I'm good. That's still something I wish I had control over, is pre-roll ads when people join a stream. I feel like that is very highly damaging for discoverability for a streamer. There are times where and it's rare, but there are times where I will like click on a stream and I just get like a salvo of ads and I just click off. I'm like, I don't want to wait a minute and a half for this. Interest is gone already. But you have to queue ads to get rid of that, or you have to be a sub to not have it in the first place. But yeah, it's kind of I mean, hey, you know, for me it makes me a couple bucks, and really not even that much. But for Twitch, they see I don't want to say a liability, but like a guy like me that doesn't queue ads, it's not you know, it's not as cool, and they like cool streamers, I think, more. So that's their way of mitigating uncool streamers is just having pre-roll ads. But if I had the option to turn that off, unless there is some option that I'm unaware of, but I haven't heard of it. But if I could turn that off, I would. Only by playing mid-rolls. Shame. Again, I'm not trying to be like holier than thou about this stuff. It's just personal preference, and I wish I had more control over how I could run my stream and not have, you know, stuff I don't want on the stream. That's it. Vinesauce streaming service? Oh my god. That would be expensive and stressful. And also, once you're in the Twitch ecosystem, unless you're like doing like, you know, 50K, I think it's hard to bring people over to your wherever you go next, unless you're like a really, really big streamer. And, you know, some people also really like all the stuff that Twitch has to offer, and like the fact that it carries across channels. So, you know, the emotes, the badges and everything. It's, I mean, I get it. It is fun. It's just, you know, it gets expensive. Let's see. All right, we're finally getting down to the screen. Hire someone to manage the Vinesauce streaming service. That would be cool. I would love to pump $25,000 a month into a Vinesauce streaming service and get nothing out of it. That sounds great. Oh, there was someone that was asking about old Redvox merch. They were like, well, why not print all these old designs that I like? You know, like they said their shirt was like in tatters or whatever. And I wrote them back and I explained it, but so I don't do print on demand most of the time because it's more expensive. We've done it a little bit in the past, but not too much. So, in order for merch to like kind of become a thing and become affordable, you have to do it bulk. Like you want to order, for example, for vinyl, you have to do like 500 rather, or 1,000. For old designs of like a shirt, you want to do at least like 150 to 200. Otherwise, you're just wasting money at that point. And one of the reasons some of the designs never came back is because they weren't particularly popular. So, you know, it's like we brought a couple things back and they did well eventually. But yeah, print on demand is a lot more expensive. And we just tend to put out some designs that are like, you know, we try them out, see how they do. And if they do really well, we bring them back. You had kerosene vinyl at the shows. Are you going to list those online later? Yes. Yeah, it's kind of like a... The way I feel about the shows is... And I think this is a pretty common thing with a lot of tours and shows, is that they get the first crack at it, and then eventually it'll be online. You know, a size or two may sell out, but it's a chance for people that bought like the tickets and went to grab something. But I think we'll have a decent amount left over, and people will be able to buy a bunch of vinyl and CDs and shit. Are you against someone having old design printed for themselves, though, like a third party, like Redbubble? How would I know about it? XH Simpson XX. Homero. No, I think, yeah, the vinyl is an easier thing to do once in a while because you can do different designs. But we need to make new fans if we're going to do more shows in similar spots that we've already done. And we need to you know, we need to make some new fans if we're going to keep printing stuff. It's just kind of how it works. And when it comes to the money aspect, I don't know why I'm talking about this while I'm building Lego, but and I don't really like to talk about this shit very much, but for just a second, I will say, yeah, I'm the one who's basically footing the bill on basically everything. And I know this may be tough for some folks to believe. I'm not quite a millionaire. So I try to be as smart about this stuff as I can, and to just kind of take advice when I can from people who have done this, or like the companies I've worked with, they usually have good advice. Just as a way to not lose money, because when Second City Prints, our previous merch place, closed, when they went bankrupt, I lost a fuckload of money. It was like ridiculous. Again, I've said it before, but people would puke if they realized how much. So I've been just more careful. And like, you know, I foot the bill on the tour to a pretty large degree. And I think, as we've determined, we made that money back, which is great. So when someone in chat was like, Vinny, will you tour the West Coast? I have no guarantee. I would like to, though. I think it would be fun. But then that adds the whole element of a plane and renting equipment and renting a van or whatever out west. It's another layer of complexity. Peace drop. It's another layer of complexity that is just unknown and requires like a lot of planning and thinking, and you know, and even finding out, like, I know we have fans in Seattle. I know, like, you know, there's just like, you can use metrics to find that shit out. Well, this isn't good. Shit. This no longer fits. I don't know what piece came off. It was this. Right? So if it was this, does that fit in there now? Okay, that fits in there now. Okay, this doesn't fit in very well. This just fucking popped right off. So let's just secure that in place first. Okay. 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 There's the volume. What's with the gloves? Do you have hairy knuckles? No, I bite my nails. And if you're staring at my fucking gross fingernails up close for hours, you're not going to have a good time. And neither am I, so I'm doing you a favor. I meant... Wait a minute, chat. I meant, this stuff is all very rare, and I don't want to ruin it with fingerprints. I think I'm going to use the spare piece, because I don't know where that piece actually is. This little one here. Huh. Oh, that's contrast. Oh, right. The Game Boy had a fucking contrast adjustment. I actually forgot about that. Huh. Hand reveal when? Come to a Redvox show. Someone said get a nail clipper. Yeah, listen. That's not gonna solve that problem. Okay? I've tried, and I just don't care anymore, really. But, I mean, maybe one day I'll try again. It's a thing my parents did. They bit their nails, too. It's one of them shitty, difficult to get rid of habits. And such is life. Nail polish helps. So I've heard, I've trust me, I'm aware of these things. I've heard all about it. And, yeah. Listen, I figured out how to quit smoking. This one's a little tougher. Okay. It's also, yeah, there you go. I got it. There we go. Oh, nice. So far, so good. Yeah, this is, like, very cool. A couple little things that are not so cool, but generally very cool. So, here's how you do this. Right, so you take the back off, right? And you do this. Oh, that's what that is. It's a lenticular catapult. It just holds it in place, basically. Yeah. Is it supposed to be that far back? It is, right? It doesn't go any further. It's bigger than the screen. So okay. So yeah, there it is. The hard part is over. Oh shit, that works. No fucking way. It's weird too because it's like the same amount of pressure required to actually turn on a Game Boy. It like, yeah, it clicks into place. Crazy. Speaking of nail biting, did you hear about the new Quake DLC? What a transition, chat member. I played it, a little bit of it. It is quakey. It is very quakey. I can see myself playing more of it. If there weren't so many damn games that I'm interested in. Like tomorrow, fucking... It might have actually be out by now, or maybe midnight? I'm not sure, but Agent 64 comes out, which is a, basically a GoldenEye spiritual successor. I played a demo of it on stream. I did the multiplayer with Joel. It is very, very good. It captures the feel of GoldenEye and brings it up to date a little bit, too. And is just, you know, the same mission structure and the same feel, and it looks like an N64 game, but like, you know, as you remember it, not as it actually was. I just watched a video about GoldenEye and all of its misguided remakes and sequels. So, perfect timing. This is a display stand. Are you playing more of that VR game? I might. I have to figure out when. If not this week, then maybe next. Tomorrow is going to be an early stream, by the way. Tomorrow I have to show up early because of practice. And then I think I'm good on early streams for a little while. I don't think I'll be doing very many of those. What got updated? Someone said something VR got updated, by the way. Oh, Breath of the Wild VR. Yes, I saw that. I saw in the F3 presentation. Chat, I screwed up. Gotta use the orange device. Thank you, orange device. Wow, I fucking screwed up here, too.
This guy is bad at Lego. Holy fuck, this guy sucks at Lego. Lego.
But yeah, tomorrow I will be playing Agent 64 in the afternoon. And something else as well. I'm not sure what yet. I have to see what I'm in the mood for, but this is plenty of games. Tamagotchi, I don't know. I might need a week off from Tamagotchi and come back to it next week. Also, that Star Wars XCOM-like game comes out at the end of the month, which seems kind of neat. I don't know if that's a good stream game, but it's something. I mean, we're getting that and a decent-looking Star Wars racing game. So, while the franchise is in kind of a weird spot, the games look kind of neat. There's a couple good ones. At least I hope they are. Remember watching Tamagotchi trailer saying that it wouldn't become a big thing. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I just wanted to set expectations because, listen, 20 streams of Tamagotchi still doesn't make it a big thing. You know, I didn't want to pretend I could do the same shit I did 12 years ago. But I ended up enjoying it. And, you know, I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm running out of shit to do. Like, we've seen much of the game and much of what you can do in the game. So it's still fun to play, but it's also very heavily reliant on your own personal creativity. And eventually that well can run dry. But no, I've enjoyed the playthrough a lot, and I'm glad that people were also into it. But I don't think it'll ever quite match the same popularity as the first game, and that, you know, that stream I did of it, all those streams I did of it, like 50-something parts. And I'm fine with that, really. I mean, I'm just glad I got as much out of it as I did, and I'll do more. There'll be definitely some more. I just want to do a Moglin spin-off, though, you know? I feel like Moglin kind of deserves his own fame at this point. It's a funnier character than we've ever heard. It is done. It clicks into place. Of course it does, though. Of course it does. The lenticular thing is very, very clever. That is a very, very cool thing that it does. I am incredibly impressed by the finished product. And again, the screen is accurately as hard to look at as original Game Boy, so that's pretty impressive. Wow. The build was not always very fun, but the finished product is so fucking cool that I have to say I'm happy I built this. Thank you to the chat member that brought this over to Long Island RetroCon to give me. I can't thank you enough for this. This is a really cool gift, and I'm glad I got to do this on stream because, yeah, it's fun to build Legos. Any set longer than this, though, would be, I think, a bit of a nightmare. I think this is like the perfect amount of time to build Legos, like 2 hours. Ugh. Yeah. So, great. All these little pieces and everything. All right, great. Orkblot. All right, chat. We'll take a break. I need a couple minutes to get all this cleaned up real quick, and then I'll be back with Mario clips. So thank you for watching Buildsauce. The top of the... Wait, the top of the tile isn't set right? What do you mean? What did I do? Oh, they were offset a little bit, right? Oh, shit, you're right. Look, 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 look. Oh, God. You know what? Thank you. You just saved the build. I forgot that they were a little offset. Right up there. You know what? I'm gonna coin a term for this type of Legos. And I think this is not my own original invention, but if it is, I'll take the money for it. Shelf slop. That's what they make these days. All those busts and helmets and shit that they're releasing, just shelf slop. And it works. Chat, I'll be back in a couple minutes. Mario clips. Oh, right. People have already said that as a term. Yeah, there's nothing original anymore. Everything is slop these days. It's slop. I want to show you. Johnny made a little logo midway through the stream. So here it is. I didn't have it for the very beginning, but let's take a look at Johnny's logo. I think it's cool. Wow. That's pretty good. Johnny's always fucking awesome with his logos. Alright, thanks Johnny. And thanks everybody for watching. That is quite perfect. We'll take a break, and I'll be back with Mario clips. Here's a song from Gerald from Redvox, and this is his channel Inner Motion Music. It's his cover of Yoshi Island.